Yeah, as you can see, there's a massive storm going on, and there was hail and all that type of stuff coming down on the ground. It's really bad. I brought in what I could. Oh my god, I brought in what I could, but yeah, this storm has not given up. I feel bad for my plants on the side. We will check tomorrow morning to see if they are fine. Welcome to Riley's Gardening Adventures, where today I'm going to show you the update of the garden and the aftermath of the storm of just the clip I showed you earlier, and see what has happened and what plants have taken damage and survived. So first and foremost, we're going to start with the tomatoes that I planted out foolishly early. And the first one we have is Sun Gold, which has taken pretty serious damage. As you can see, the top of it has snapped off the original growing tip. So yeah, this thing is finished. However, all's not lost, because there is a sucker here which will grow into the new main stem, and there's two, so I'm happy I didn't prune off all the suckers. But yeah, Sun Gold has taken damage. My dwarf tomatoes, they actually did really pretty fine, so I really think that a commenter who said I should grow dwarf tomatoes, so I got two kinds. Forgot which one this is, I have its name written somewhere. And I got some patio tomato. They did look barely any damage. They have survived the storm. Oh, and one thing I want to show is, like, what is this weird stuff that just popped up in the storm? I thought this was ice, but when you touch it, let me get one. It's like a squishy thing. Yeah, what is that? It's like a gelatin type of material. Weird. My San Marzano that I planted in this container looks a little bit damaged. I mean, it's not that bad of damage overall. I hope it can recover, just mainly like wind, bent leaves and stuff. My black crim, also really bent leaves. Nothing appears to snap off, so it still has a fighting chance. Boxcar Willie, I'm surprised this thing didn't take more damage than it did, because how elongated was when I bought this plant. But growing tip seems to be fine. I'm not going to be pruning of any of the suckers, so just in case the growing tip fails, we have a backup main stem. We got early girl. This thing seems to have been taking some wind damage. Yeah, it kind of looks droopy. Not too bad. Growing tip is still intact. Still has some suckers, so just in case that growing tip fails. This just looks kind of sad. Move on to Super Sweet 100. Has taken minimal damage. Looks pretty good. As you can see, the growing tip's fine. Stuff like that. Good. Okay, well, that's out of the way. Let's go to my spring plants here, but you can see holes, tears, rips all across the board when it comes to these spring plants. Some worse than others, like this one. Ice cream leaf lettuce. They're actually catching up in growth, so I'm pretty happy, but they sustained damage as well. From the hail, look at that damage. Very sad. This one was growing quite well since last time I updated, but now there's just holes peppering the lettuce plants. Same with Four Seasons. This one, this one really got hit. This thing used to just look like this as well, but wow, they got like ripped. The wind ripped it out of the container, almost blew off the whole plant. Oh, very sad. Early on, the cabbage took barely any damage. Black seeded sentence, similar to the ones we just showed. Yeah, early on it doesn't take much damage. This one's super stunted. I don't know why. Probably the soil needs to be changed. This one, yeah, ripped. The outer leaves got ripped. As long as the inner leaves are fine, we should be good. More napa cabbage damage. More leaf lettuce damage. I really feel bad for the leaf lettuce. Should have took it in, harvested already. Strawberries, they look pretty good. Actually, minimal damage. Flowers, don't even have to worry about them. Leaf lettuce. Burgundy Delight took minimal damage. Still some holes and rips, but not that bad. California poppies, totally fine. And this last strawberry did perfectly well. So now that I got that out of the way, let's go look at the garden bed. So here we are at the garden bed, and it seems that every single napa cabbage has sustained some type of wind
and hail damage. Look at the rips and the holes in each and single one of them. But all is not lost, as these are very, very minor damage than I would have expected. And that, as I said earlier, as long as the center is not too damaged, it will grow. So I'm pretty relieved that the garden bed is not that damaged. And I think it's really thanks to this wall that probably acted as a buffer shield against the strong winds. So now that I show you the garden bed, let us look at the plants that I was able to take inside and save. Okay, so here are the plants that I was able to save from destruction in the storm. So I got my pineapple plant, my Abe Lincoln plant, and my Juliet All-American Selects winter plant. Now this was a really hard task to get because the wind and the hail was raining down, and right when I was like, oh, it's starting, I rushed outside and took these from these small pots and brought them back in. Sadly, I could not do the same for the bigger pots, but we got what we got, and I'm happy that these three were able to survive. Furthermore, the seedlings that look garbage actually look like they're improving, so let me show you that. Okay, so these are the seedlings that were garbage quality, but actually bounced back from the initial garbage looking plant. So this is the Brandy Boy. That's actually the best looking seedling that has recovered so far. The rest kind of look droopy, but they are overall improved from what we saw last time, and they're less yellow. So I think I was able to rehabilitate it by moving these to these bigger pots than from the trays that had too much fertilizer in them. So yeah, I do think that some of these need to be replaced with better seedlings. So let's look at the trays to see what progress we got so far. Okay, so here we are with the trays for seed starting part 2. And as you can see, it's been past 5 days since reseed starting. And honestly, I am not impressed with the results. I think it's these trays that are retaining too much water. I'm not even watering these too much, but I think that the soil is too big for the seed, the small seeds. So we need to start in smaller cells to have better results. Now, the ones that did regerminate are Purple Boy, Big Zach. I think that's it on this tray. And then on this one, we got Super Sweet 100, which I already have, Steakhouse, Better Boy Plus, and yeah, this is, oh man, look at that, sad. But these trays are not so good, so I'm going to do a part 3 of reseed starting, but in those smaller trays, the same exact trays I used last year, which aren't the best looking, but they did perform better. So yeah, part 3 seed starting trays will happen. So stay tuned for more adventures on Riley's Gardening Adventures.